let's get to it. So today we're just going over the basics of MP3 tags so you guys can get started and on your way. The first thing we obviously need to do is load in some files. There are a few ways to do that. If I had a directory open, like say this here, I could literally drag and drop files in. This is not my preferred method, but it does work. I like to come up here and I use either this button here to change my directory, or I'll use this one with the plus to add a directory, and I'll show you the difference between the two right now. So if I come over here, I know that I'm specifically trying to get to this directory here, and you'll notice I have a check mark box for subdirectories. If I do not check this box, these files in this folder will not also load in. If I checked it, they would load in. Now let's say I did want to load in those extra files. I could either go here, change the directory, tap this check mark, and then load it in again, or I could also go to the plus, add a directory, and I can just go to this new folder and again select this folder, and now those tracks will also be added here. So depending on where you're loading stuff in and what folders you do or do not want to include, this might be helpful for you to use either of those two methods. Now once you pop in here, you'll see that all of our, well, a lot of our metadata is here in these different columns. You're not going to have all of these columns. You'll probably have the basic things, and your tag panel will also have the basic things. I've added a lot of extra information for my own personal use. So once you click on a file here, you'll notice that your tag panel will populate with all of the metadata, and you can obviously scroll through and look at all that good stuff in the album art at the bottom. You'll notice that this particular track is missing an album name, and this one down here seems to have an album name that differs from the rest of these. If I were to select this entire album by first selecting my first file, holding the shift key, selecting this bottom file here, you'll see that my tag panel has kind of changed. The ones that say keep are because we're trying to keep the original data that does not match across this entire album, or at least across every single file on that album. There are some things that do match, like our album artist, so it just plainly reads what the album artist is. Album says keep because again we have some differences here in the album column. So if I wanted to choose between all of those options, I can either leave it blank, which I don't want to do. I can go with the all caps name, or I can go with the lowercase, or mixed case I should say, and that's the one I'm going to go with. Now to save this change, I'll just hit the save key up here, or I can do Control S, which is what I like to do. I could have also highlighted this and just typed in whatever I wanted to if I wanted to make it something else and do the same sort of change. One of these I know is missing the album art, so I'm going to take a peek here and see. It's this guy. So if I wanted to load in some album art, there's a couple ways of doing this. What I'm going to do, because I have another file right here that has the album art, is I'm just going to copy this cover, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste it and save that as well. If I had album art stored on my device, I could go to add cover, and then I can find that cover wherever it may be, hit open, and I can also populate this album art that way. But for the sake of my situation, it was easier to just copy paste. So this is how you would change any pieces of data. You can either double click in here, that's not right. It's playing the song, sorry. You can either double tap on one of these and just type in there. Personally, I like to click on the file, come over to my tag panel, edit it there, and then save. But that's totally up to you. You can do whatever you'd like. Now that we've got the album art in there, all of my data seems to be correct. If you had any other changes to make, you can definitely go ahead and do that. What I would like to do is change these file names. So I can select either one file, or I can select all of my files. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to select all of my files because I want to save some time. Then I can go up here to convert, and I'm going to choose the first option, which is tag file name, which basically means we're going to take some of the tags on these files and use that information to generate the file names. there's a lot of jumbo in there right now, so we'll simplify. For this simple example, what I'm first going to do is I would like all of these to be title, and then we'll do by, and then artist, just to keep it simple. So I want to use the title. I'm going to have to pull out the parentheses, and I'll have to, percent signs, and then we'll put in title. It's trying to autofill this other stuff from before, and now I want to do, let's do a dash. Again, it's trying to autofill. I'm going to do percent, and I'll fill that in with the artist. And again, it's trying to relax. So just title and artist is what I want every file name to be. So I'm going to click OK, and I'll see up here that now I have title and artist for each one. A really cool thing about MP3TAG is that I can also move files using this same method. So right now, these tracks are in this directory here, sample tracks. Now, if I wanted to, I come up to convert, I can go to tag file name again, and let's say I want to keep the file name the same. I just want to change where these guys end up. So the simplest way to do that, let's say I want them to move to my music folder. I would click on here. So I would click on here, and I would try to copy this path here. Now you'll notice that the full path is not present, so I've made a new folder just so I can get the full path, and that ends right where music is. So I'm going to copy that, then I'm going to come up here, we'll go home, I'm going to paste that right there, and then I also need to add a slash just right there. So now it's going to rename these files and move them to this new destination. So they should now be in my music folder with the same file names that they have now. I click OK. I do a little waiting. Now if I come over here and I look at my music folder, I'll notice that all those files are now here. I'm going to take this one step further. So I have this folder called new test. I'm going to come back to convert. We're going to go to tag file name. So now, right here, I'm going to type in, is it all caps? I think it was all caps. Yes, it is. So right here after this slash after music, I'm going to type in new test. We'll do another slash. And then I want to get really fancy here and use some extra information that I have from these tags. So I want each of these to be in an album folder. So what I'll do is my percent again. I'm going to type in album this time. And then I'm going to do, let's say I'll do the year as well. So I'll do a parentheses around my year, which is also going to be inside of my percent signs. And we'll do year. And then I'll have to add another slash there. So now they should all be in an album folder that has the album name and the year of that album. So let's go ahead and click OK. I'll come back here. So now inside new test, I have a folder that has the album title and the year, and all my tracks are here. Very nice for organizing and moving files automatically based on your tags. So that is everything that you're going to need to know to get the basics done in MP3TAG. Tune in for more videos because we're going to show you some really cool stuff.